the girl child does not feel safe, teachers come after you. I mean, especially if you're pretty or even if you're not. Like, I believe everyone is beautiful in their own way. But like,
Girl,
come for you. Like,
I feel you.
and it usually comes out of nothing. Like somebody just bullies you. They just pick you as an easy target and they decide to bully you.
Into the library. Actually, I was called to come to the library when I
Yeah.
was in secondary school, and I found someone has written, "I hate you, Irene Genda," like a
Wow.
huge one in the library on
Wow.
the wall.
And even the issue of, social media has also allowed men to use a different form of attack. Like, for instance, some of them use the angle of nudity. So some of the girls were telling us that they got pregnant because they had to sleep with, border riders because the border riders will buy them pads. Yeah, and we have
Really?
a lot of young girls who have been exposed to that, and now they're sex workers. And if you ask them who introduced you to this, they're like, my mom. Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Irene, and on today's video we are going to talk about a girl child. But I am not alone. I have a visitor through Zoom meeting, and this is my sister, my friend Nima Kassim Nzani, all the way from Kenya. She is a founder of the Hijabi mentorship program. She's going to tell us what are they about, what do they do, where do they work from, and whom do they work for. I hope we are going to learn and enjoy this video. She has so many things to share as well as prepared questions to answer. I hope you like this video. Remember to share, subscribe, and leave a comment. I will see you at the end.
Hi, baby girl.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm fine. How have you been?
I've been good. I can't complain. Everything is working out well. You already know, just setting the ball rolling. Yeah. How have you been? You look amazing.
Thank you. I cannot complain as well, even though we have like a partial lockdown, but not bad. I think I'm kind of used to this, and I think they're trying to moderate it. It's not as bad as before.
Yeah.
Like where you wake up, everything is locked. No. Right now, you just know like the public places are locked, and maybe schools and that. So we move regardless.
I'm just surprised that the lockdown is still continuing back in China, because in Kenya it's totally different. Like right now, people are not even wearing masks as much. People are just using masks only particular places, like maybe the bank, but most of the people you meet at the streets, like COVID just ended or something, or people got used to it. And I know we have some cases, but they're not as many as they were before. So I thought maybe in China you'd also have made some similar progress, but yeah.
No, here the thing is they have a zero case policy. Like they must make sure there is nobody that is sick here.
Wow.
To my surprise, I've never known anyone being infected. Like not a neighbor, not a friend, nobody, not a foreigner, not a Chinese.
Wow.
Never. They know better. We don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay, so today I decided to invite you to this channel, and because I know you're my friend, but then you have the Hijabi mentorship program. First of all, you're doing a good job. Like I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy, but you keep going. And this month is a month of a girl child,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me have a conversation and ask you, because I think like you have experience on a lot of things.
Yeah.
From where you've been, as I think 2 weeks ago you were in Mexico.
Yeah.
I think somehow the agenda was the same about the community and everything. Wow, I have to be walking like. Yeah, so like I have some questions for you.
Okay.
I hope we can go through them. I think they would be easy for you. No, nothing difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, so like maybe people would want to know, what does your program, like what does Hijabi mentorship program deal with? What do they do? And what inspired you to start your program?
Okay. First and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to your channel. It's been amazing watching the progress that you've been making, and I feel like you're doing a really incredible job. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of the growth, because I'm quite sure in a year's time we will be looking at a different platform for you. So I'm really excited for you to get
I'm
there.
surprised you people take it that way, but for me, it's something that started like as a joke.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I just like doing better things.
Mhm.
That's why. But to me, really, it's just something normal. Like
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
And I think that's like
Yeah.
what makes the best passion. It's something, it starts as a hobby. And eventually, like that's exactly how I started with Hijabi. So most people don't know that. But before Hijabi was an organization, it was actually a YouTube channel. It was a show on YouTube. It was called the Hijabi Journalist Show.
I
And
remember.
I would invite different women to come and talk about, different issues that are happening in their society. So basically, just a short introduction about myself. My name is Nima, coming from Kenya in a county called Kwale County. So Kwale County is on the coastal part of Kenya, and I personally have grown up in the village in one of the most marginalized communities in my community in Kwale County. And I come from a very conservative community. I'd say that it's a bit conservative, it's a bit reserved. And growing up, there was a lot of, cultural barriers and boundaries that I felt were facing, the progress of the young girl. And if not for the fact that I'm coming from a very a family that really values education and really values the empowerment of women, then I wouldn't be who I am right now. And I usually remind myself that it's actually a privilege. I'm not coming from a rich family, but I come from a family that really valued education, and they really valued investing in my education, because that is what has made me who I am. So ever since I was young, I was very passionate about championing for, young women and girls, because as I said, coming from this community, I have seen firsthand the challenges that they face, from early marriages, from, rape, defilement, domestic abuse, staying in abusive relationships, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and sexual harassment. Just mention all of them. And I used to see them growing up. And the worst bit was justice was rarely served, because these were conversations that usually hashed in the community, like let's not talk about them. Or if an incident happens, I come from the Swahili community, it's just going to be more of like, tutayamaliza kinyumbani, let's settle this matter at home. It doesn't have to get outside. And there was a lot of victim shaming. So even when I was young, I was so passionate about championing for girls, like the debates. I was in different debates and, initiating conversations like, why not the girl child? Why not? I was always questioning that. So when I got to campus, I decided to start my YouTube channel, and it was more about, championing for the rights of women and girls. But after a period of a year, I started feeling, when you start feeling like you have a gap in your mind, or you don't feel fulfilled anymore, because I felt the women and girls that I was actually targeting, who were my first priority, were the women in my community. And these women, I wouldn't lie to you, Erin, these are women who probably don't even have access to phones. And if they do have phones, then they don't have access to smartphones. So they cannot even log into YouTube. They will never see my videos, And if they do have smartphones, then they're based in areas that have zero connectivity. So even if, I would share as many inspirational videos as I could ever.
It wasn't going to
But it wasn't
what you really
the
wanted
audience.
to do, your
Exactly.
community.
It wasn't getting to my audience. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to take a break from my YouTube, and I'm going to go into this community firsthand, and I'm going to talk to these women, and girls, physically. So that's what led to the transition of me starting the organization, the CBO. So the Hijabi Mentorship Program is currently a community-based organization that champions for women and girls in underserved communities. And our current area of focus is Kwale County. And we tackle 4 areas that are very critical to our work, which is gender-based violence. We really want to reduce the issues of GBV in our community, and we want to strengthen the mechanisms of justice, for gender-based violence, and making sure women and girls actually get justice. And we also want to increase access to sexual health, sexual reproductive health and rights, because we realize, because of the traditional norms, there's a bit of a shyness when it comes to accessing sexual health, and women and girls especially they don't get the fair treatment when they're trying to access this. So we're trying to champion for sexual reproductive health and rights, and make sure women and girls are aware of their rights on matters of sexual health. And as a solution, we're bringing out the angle of economic empowerment, because for me, I believe, without a woman being economically empowered, how do I expect them to afford sexual health? I mean, Irene, just look around you. Everything is so expensive nowadays. Even a pad, a good quality.
I want to quit. I want to go back to childhood.
Like even a good pad, it costs a lot of money, and for us it's a privilege. You'll see us on Twitter, we're talking about, oh, this pad doesn't suit me, oh, I had to change to this pad. It's easy to do that if you have the money, but if you don't, you have to survive with that. We're looking at women who use newspapers or rags or cotton wool, to support them, because they cannot afford pads. So as much as we're talking about these things, we have to bring out the issue of economic empowerment. Or if I'm telling a woman, leave your husband, I'm advising them, look, this relationship is not good for you, he may end up killing you. But the woman would be like, but if I go, who's going to take care of me? I don't have a job. My family is in poverty. I would rather stay here to take care of my children. So it also brings out the issue of economic empowerment. So those are the 3 areas we work in. And we also have an angle on peace building and conflict resolution, because GBV and conflict, women in violence, it comes, 50-50. Yeah. So that's also an angle. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, that's what we do at the Hijabi mentorship program.
Wow. And how old were you when you started?
Oh my God, I was so I'm 27 now. So it was in 2018. So how old was I? I have to do that math. That math is not mathing.
The math is not
it's
math.
Like 5 years ago. So I think I was 22. Yeah. So I think I was 22, 23 when I started it. Yeah.
Wow, it's a journey. 5 years. I remember you launched the office at the 5-year
it's a 4
anniversary,
years,
right?
We launched 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. So that's why I say maybe 23. So 4 years. Yeah. So it's been 4 years. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's not easy, even going for 1 year.
I don't think crazy. It's easy. It's been crazy. And as a young woman, and you're starting an organization, and the organization is challenging the stereotypes or ideologies that have been in the community for so long. So you come out as a threat to a lot of people. It's more like, why does she think she knows more? Who does she think she is?
Being a woman, being young.
Yeah, you're young, you're a woman, you're not even wed yet. What makes you think you know things to a point you are teaching us how? So it has been a challenge, but what I always believe is that respect is earned. If you want people to respect you, they can't just automatically respect you. You have to earn your place. Yeah. So for me, I've been working towards making sure that I earn my seat at the table. And I can say from where we started to where we are now, we're currently getting the recognition. We're currently getting, people are recognizing our efforts, our work. They're actually reaching out to us, asking us for support. So I think we're in a really good place.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations. Me being your friend, and then there's that personal side that we have, and then there's this official side that we have.
Yeah,
it's really amazing. Really amazing. You're doing great, by the way. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Okay, so my second question is it easy to address the community on the issues and for example the sexual health, the economy? You say that a woman has to be economically empowered for her to do better. But you know, like where we come from, because me and George are just neighbors. You know, like where we come from, especially being in the village, they feel like if a woman has money, she's becoming rude. Like it's not believed that a woman should be economically empowered. So is it easy for you to do what you're doing?
No, it's not. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, when we started, we received like a lot of criticism because they felt that we are challenging our culture and our traditions. And you know how we say, coastal people, mwachamila ni mtumwa. If you leave your culture, like abandon your culture, you're a slave. So actually, that was how we were branded, you know, a slave, a Western slave. You know, you've been so westernized by this education. Now you think you know more than the old sages, you know.
Unajifanya mjuaji. That's where they will tell you, like, pray to the slave. Unajifanya mjuaji.
Yeah, but I think through time, they get to see the value of, you know, education. Like, for instance, I'm the youngest too, but I'm the breadwinner, you know. So you use yourself as an example. You show people, you know, if you educate your girl, you know, most of the time they'd be like, oh, what's the point of even educating a child, you know, a girl? She's going to get married and she's going to live to her and go to her husband's family, and there's nothing you're going to get out of it. But I'm like, look at me. I'm still at home. I'm still taking care of my family. I have no problem with it. And even if I get married, I would still take care of my family, you know. It doesn't change. It just means that the economy right now, you know, the economy is very high right now. And even in a household, you cannot just rely on one breadwinner. You can't rely and just say, oh, my husband is providing, or the man will provide. What's the point of the woman working, you know? And for me, I even usually bring in the aspect of religion, because for our community is mainly Muslim, and you bring out the issue of the story of Lady Khadija, the wife of the Prophet, the first wife of the Prophet. She was a very rich merchant, you know, and the Prophet was just a shepherd of one of her cattle or something, and the Prophet married her. So if the Prophet was willing to marry a rich, empowered woman, why are you intimidated? So I don't think it comes to an issue of a woman being intimidating when she becomes economically empowered. It sounds like a you problem. I don't believe I'm intimidating. I think you are intimidated. I don't think I'm taking so much space. I think you're used to people playing small to make you feel comfortable. So instead of blaming that women, you know, when they become empowered, they become rude,
you wanted to put you in a box.
Level up and meet us, you know, up there.
Like they want to put you in a box somewhere that a person can look down to you, like they can just
control you and control you.
So I think they tell you are changing women to be crazy, like I think especially from men. It must be from men, because being from an Islamic culture, like it must be very difficult.
Yeah, but I also like how the society has now started to embrace the idea of, you know, an empowered woman, because right now we actually have a female governor in Kwale. So you can imagine. Yeah.
Wow. So I think first you have to educate these people. Why is it important? And then you teach them what you want to teach, right?
So you have to basically educate them about their fundamental rights, the Human Rights Declaration, the Universal Human Rights Declaration, and that, you know, a woman being educated is actually their right, a woman being able to speak is actually their right, a woman having access to health care is actually their right. So you have to take it, you know, a step at a time, and, you know, before you come to the exact point you're making.
Wow, I see. Okay, and then I wanted to ask you, like, what are the challenges a girl child has been facing in relation to the rapid changes of the world, especially the internet, globalization, the economy, like you said? I'm sure as much as we want to help her to be economically powerful, but it's also a challenge, as you can see, the inflation and everything. So I'm like, what are the challenges that she faces?
So I think there are many challenges. There are many challenges, and even during on the 11th, when we were having the International Girl Day Summit, because we had it right here in Kwale, and
Yeah.
young girls were given a platform to air out, their
Yep.
concerns and their views. And some of the issues that they brought up were the issues of sexual harassment. This is something
Oh.
that a lot of people don't talk about, but the girl child does not feel safe, teachers come after you. I mean, especially if you're pretty or even if you're not. Like, I believe everyone is beautiful in their own way, but like,
Girl,
come for you, like,
I feel you.
it'll be like, you want to pass your exam? Do you want to get an A? You have to sleep with me. Do you want to pass? Or you either sleep with me or I give you a fail. So these are challenges you see young girls facing from a very young age. And from a very young age, they get, they are exposed to this kind of violence. They're exposed to this kind of demeaning, because now they start to feel like a tool that you need to give out something for you to get something. So the issues of sexual harassment, the issues of bullying in school. I mean, some of us have been bullied for like a while on various issues, and some of these issues are
One time,
really,
I'll tell you something crazy. One time I walked into the library. Actually, I was called to come to the library when I
yeah,
was in secondary school, and I found someone has written, "I hate you, Irene Genda," like a
wow,
huge one in the library on
wow.
the wall.
And it usually comes out of nothing. Like somebody just bullies you. They just pick you as an easy target and they decide to bully you. And now, especially in the era of social media, we have a lot of cyberbullying. People can now hide behind fake names,
Big
tunazita fake
account.
hero, fake names, and just use them to attack you for no reason, and it really brings down our girls and brings down their self-esteem. And even the issue of social media has also allowed men to use a different form of attack. Like, for instance, some of them use the angle of nudity. Somebody shares something with you, something private, something intimate during a very intimate moment, and then what do? When immediately you are ditched, you use that to expose them. So it comes down to, like, in whose world are you safe? Or maybe you've made a post back in the days. Back then it seemed okay, because I usually believe the
Yeah,
Nima I am right now is not the Nima I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
true
So
that,
maybe I
true
made a
that.
post, and back then it was okay. I was young and I was just doing life. And then somebody just decides to post it right now, like, oh, look at her pretending to be so empowered, pretending to be little miss. Like, oh, what do you
Does
want?
that happen to you?
No, but yes, it has in a way, because I remember when I started the journalist show. Sometimes
Yeah,
people would bring out pictures of me. Maybe I've worn like pants. You know me. I usually am very I'm
yeah, I
very
know how you
I'm
dress.
a free spirit and all that. And somebody
Yeah,
would be like, "Oh, you don't even wear hijab all the time. Not like hijab, but like an abaya all the
like,
time, and then you
yeah,
want
abaya.
to." And people bring that up, and you're like, what does this have to do with the work that I'm doing?
Is
Like,
what
what
I'm
is
doing.
exactly, how is this related? But it's more like people just try to bring the girl down. And even I think last year we had a politician whose nudes were leaked, and I was so mad. This is a very high person, and why are you leaking? It's not even a nudes, it was a sexual encounter, because it was a sexual encounter and somebody leaked that. And you're like, this is just somebody trying to tarnish her name, trying to bring her down. So the girl child is exposed to so many of these, and especially when they are in such a marginalized society. There, like, for instance, some of the girls were telling us that they got pregnant because they had to sleep with, border riders, because the border riders will buy them pads, and they're like, I cannot stay the whole week not going to school when somebody is going to give me 100 shilling. 100 shillings, like $1. $1 is nothing to you. You're like, what is $1?
So
That's
it means
but like somebody else, $1 is so much to another person. So when she's handed $1, she's like, okay, at least I can use this to buy myself a pad or two pads that will actually last me this month. So if a boda rider decides to give me that, and then I sleep with them, but in reality, they're taking advantage of them. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
so it's like one problem goes to make another problem. Like from lack of money, they're going
Yeah.
to get early pregnancies, and then now you can have diseases.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
especially at our coastal communities, we're really exposed to child sexual tourism. A lot of people don't talk about it, but we have a lot of parents shoving their children into child sexual tourism. Like, I call it child sexual tourism because if you tell a 14-year-old girl to sleep with an old Mzungu or a tourist who just came,
We
you
do
tell them to,
that.
yeah, they do that. They're like, there's no money in this house and you are young and you're beautiful and these tourists will definitely be attracted to you. So it's the holiday, pack your bags, go fetch. Yeah, literally go fetch, like go find money and bring home. Yeah, and we have
Really?
a lot of young girls who have been exposed to that and now they're sex workers. And if you ask them who introduced you to this, they're like, my mom. Yeah.
I think it's because of where I grew up. Like we grew up in different places. I
Yeah.
didn't grow up in interior places. They're
Yeah.
not big cities, but as well they are. I would say like they're small cities. You understand?
Yeah.
I didn't see that happening. Yes, I know what I've faced as a child. I mean, as a girl child.
Yeah.
I've been into a lot of things that you have mentioned there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But then knowing that there's sex tourism, it's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
and being from parents,
Yeah.
the issues, when I thought of the issues that come to a girl child, I was like, maybe they could just be bullying, like you said, or they could just be the peer pressure and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
such.
And I love
Wow.
you brought out the issue of peer pressure. Like peer pressure is so real. And the worst bit is that it's not even real. Like most of the things on social media being the highest peer pressure tool right now, most of the things people see, they are fake. And it's so unfortunate that people don't realize how fake that what is being portrayed on social media is. Like people pretend that they're living the best of lives. Every aspect of their life is perfect. They're perfect. But you meet them in person and they're a completely different person. So that puts people on so much pressure. You see young girls wanting to sleep with old men simply because they want an iPhone 14 Pro Max and it came out and because they saw somebody else with it. But you forget that this person probably just sleeps on a mattress. They don't even have a bed yet, but they only have that iPhone. And you want to compete.
Have an iPhone and you don't have credit.
Yeah, exactly. So like, what's the point? Like social media is so fake. And each time I sit with these girls, I try to tell them, for me, social media has really helped me because it has built my brand. But then you need to sit down and ask yourself, how do you want to use your social media? Do you want to use it as a tool to build your brand? Do you want to use it as a tool for recruiters to find you? Or for donors, for instance, for me, I mean, if I send a proposal for Hijabi, they're going to Google me. They want to know who this person is. And they come to my pages to see my credibility. So the question is, how do you want to use your social media? Do you want to use it to just check out celebrities and see how you're going to be like them?
Okay.
You need to have a plan, right? Yeah, or else it can really mislead you. And we have girls who've lost their lives because of social media, because some lunatic decided to take advantage of them on social media. And now we have these catfish games, where somebody pretends to be this very handsome young man.
For me, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Person for 2 years to be my friend, like a girl.
Wow.
For 2 years, find out was a guy.
Oh my.
2 years. 2 years. We moved from Instagram. We moved to WhatsApp.
Wow.
For 2 years.
I am so sorry. That must have been traumatizing.
Wow. To find out, I was like, what? And he was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to approach you. So I thought this could be an easy.
I'm done. I'm done for the day.
He came as a friend to me and then said, like, my brother is interested in you. Maybe after 1 year. Started talking about her brother. I was like, I don't care about your brother. And she was like, no, you can at least chat with him because he sees I talk to you. Da 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 da. So I took the brother's number.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a guy with 2 phone numbers.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh my God.
So right now I have like the insecurity. Right now, if I don't really know a person or if there is no way I can relate to you, No matter how much you keep sending me DMs, you call me sis, you call me anything, I'm off. Like, blame the person that ruined me.
I get that. And it reminds me of an incident that happened, I think, a couple of years ago. So there was a guy who created, I think, 5 users, and like a family, like he created an entire family, like a brother, a sister, a step brother, blah blah blah. And then he created this image of this supposed brother to be a doctor, an Arab, I don't know, but he knows, very culture oriented and very Islamic. Like, even when you go through his page, it will be, him talking about, guys, today it's Jama, it's Friday, let's go to the mosque. And like this very perfect guy. And he used that account to seduce different women. So I remember at that point, because we are the ones who uncovered it with my cousin, and it blew up. Because I remember at that point, I would meet different friends of mine, and each of them would be like, so I'm dating this guy. I'm like, oh, really? Interesting. Have you met him? No, but we chat. So everyone was like, no, but we chat everywhere. And I remember at this point, he promised, I think, 3 women marriage. So 3 women were actually waiting for him to come back from, I don't know which country, where apparently he had gone on mission, you know how they make them look special. So these women were here waiting for the guy to come back. I remember one of them was actually my cousin, and she had even started wearing, the niqab, because she's getting married, and all the gloves and all that. She's like, guys, I'm just waiting for my fiance to get back. And I think he realized the pressure was too much. He decided to kill that particular character. One morning we wake up and we're like, oh, we're so sorry, but so-and-so got shot 7 times and died. And all these women were on social media crying, like, oh my God, you left me a widow. Like, what am I supposed to do? Can you believe that? So for me, I remember I just went and posted. I was like, has anyone ever met this guy? That has been, and that was an account that had been there for like 5 years. So like, this is something he had done for years. That credibility. And that's when everything came out. Everyone came out, and everyone was like, who is this guy? By the way, we really have never met this guy. And that's when everyone found out that this guy was a fake. So he had to kill all the 4 accounts, and we even discovered who he really was. Okay, by then I was in campus. I had a lot of time to do investigative stuff, It's crazy, but people need to be careful, because it means that that's not domestic abuse, but it's in some way it's emotional abuse, because I'm pretty sure these women will be traumatized for the rest of their lives knowing that they dated a ghost. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Without wasting your time, I think we can move to the other one. Yeah. I'm like, do you think the girl child is still raised as how our mothers were raised? Because I think this is my concern. Like, I've been looking at things. Okay, maybe because I look at the girls that I see on social media, the ones that I see around, I live in China, so it's a different area and place. So from that side, or you being in this industry, or you being in this program, I think you've met so many girls, you've seen the privileged ones and the ones that are trying. So do you think they're still being raised as our moms? And is there a need to combine the past teachings and the ones that we are teaching now? Because now there's globalization, there's development of so many things. Like, we have to teach a girl, like, no, you don't have to sit at home and wait for a man to provide for you. But then, do we still teach this girl, like, one day? Because I remember for my mom, she would always, they took me to school. Like, I've been studying, I've had that life, not as, they did their best to provide for me, the education, to teach me, like, I have to be independent. I've grown up around independent women, they're doing for themselves, so they taught me that. But still, they would teach me that I am still a girl. One day I'll be a sister, one day I'll be a mom, one day I'll be a wife. Like, do you think, like, these girl childs are still being raised that way, or is there a need to combine the two? Like, the past teaching our mothers the way they are. We have very submissive mothers. A mom is, our mothers are women that they can go to work at 8, but they left breakfast for our fathers. and we are like, yo, kila mtu atakula anakojua yeye.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
that's a very interesting point you bring. But I would say, based on my experience, I think it's different for different people. I mean, I have seen girls being raised, completely like in the new form, the new culture, the introduction to gender issues, like they're really in the new culture, in the kind of life that we're currently moving right now. But then I also know girls who have been raised, in the traditional perspective, the ones who are raised, to believe that a woman is only one thing: a wife and a mother. So from a very young age, these girls are raised to believe that, as a woman, you have to be pretty and smile and calm and not laugh loudly and listen and, to poise. You're taught how to speak, like, without, soft voice and all that. And you're basically prepared for marriage from a very young age, And for them, that's what they believe. That's why you'd see, at very young age, girls want to get married. And now it's like a fashion to just get married. People rarely even prepare for the marriage. They prepare for the wedding. It's all about the wedding and the glamour. People forget that after the wedding is the marriage, which also has caused the high cases of divorce. The divorce cases have gone really high because these girls are mostly, only have one thing in mind. But now we're looking at a world that for you to survive, you need to have all the smartness, like not just being pretty, but being book smart, be street smart, be intelligent. Because as much as our mothers were raised to be beautiful for their husband, nowadays we're looking at men I actually met men who are like, I cannot be with a woman who is not challenging me. I want somebody who, when I bring this idea, they bring this idea. So I feel as I like how you say it when you say we need to combine these two, because I understand we cannot completely destroy that culture of being a wife, or, of being a mother. In the end of the day, that's still what some of us want. I know people who don't want to get married, they don't want to have children, but then some people still want to, and it's still okay to still want to get married and still have children. So it's okay for you to learn. Yeah.
Aside from being a wife, you're still going to be a sister,
Yeah,
like you have, for me, you're the last one. I have 2 young brothers.
Okay.
They call me for problems before they call my mom. Like, I'm the advocate.
Yeah.
Like, they want to talk to me before I can talk to mom. Like, okay. Sometimes I'm like, you have to go straight, or I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do and how I can talk to mom on 1, 2, 3, or dad 1, 2, 3. You understand? So I mean, like, I've seen a couple of men nowadays, they're complaining, like, or you can see that a woman, as much as she's pretty, she's educated and stuff, she has that attitude. Like, of course, we want to be independent, we want to be free, but we want the freedom. But can you still do they still need to be told that there's a husband? Even I think in my religion, it teaches that we should love and obey our husbands. So whatnot. You don't have to fear the person, but is that this man come back home knowing that my wife is home? Like, it is a home, or it's just a house that we have 2 hustlers in the same house. You understand? Like, what can you tell me? I work. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, can they be combined? Or it's just old school stuff? Do you teach these girls out there, like, no matter what, like, a woman, a woman is gonna be a woman, even if it's not just for a husband. You're gonna be a mom, and I think a kind of a mom you are determines how your child grows up. Like, I think I am who I am today because of my mother, like my mother, my grandmothers. But then I'm trying to think, the generation that we have, we being the mothers, are we still going to have the values our mothers have had? Or one time you're from the club, you bump into your daughter, and that's it. You understand?
I guess
because I think nowadays freedom has preached that a girl can smoke weed, a girl can just be drunk anyhow. That is what modern society has pictured as being a girl, being a woman, a young woman, developed, educated, and I'm kind of old school. I find it a little bit like a girl smoking weed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not against that, but I find like, do we really still need to tell them like a girl has certain limits? Yeah, maybe I should put it that way. Like a girl has certain limits, you know.
But I think that would actually create a very controversial conversation, especially in modern society, because I think it comes down to the fact that as feminists, personally, as a proud feminist, we're always trying to tell young girls, you know, there is no limit to what you can achieve in life. You can even be president. I mean, we've seen female presidents, right?
My president is
So exactly. So yeah, exactly. So now when we start, you know, drawing these limits of, you know, a girl can, you know, you can't smoke weed, or I think this comes different. It shifts from the issue of gender to the issue of moral values. So I don't think it's even an issue of gender anymore. I think it's the issue of moral value of what society, because in the end of the day, okay, speaking for myself, I wouldn't marry a man who smokes weed or drinks alcohol, you know. So it's not about them being a man that they're allowed to do that. It's just about moral values and my preferences as a person, yeah. But there are people who are comfortable with that kind of lifestyle. So I think it would come down to as a society to sit down and reevaluate. To what point is enough? To what point is this cool? Because, you know, that's cool, you know, smoking.
Yeah.
And, you know,
like I think that's
spending every time being in the club and, you know, and doing all that, and to the society, that's cool. But then to where do we draw the line and say, you know, this is bringing more damage than good in our society? So I'm not sure how to respond to it in the aspect of gender, because I don't think it's a gender issue. I think it's a moral value issue.
It's a moral thing. But I think my concern, or like what I was trying to say, like what came into my mind is whereby now that a person has decided, like one day I decided to get married, or I'm with them, maybe I have a boyfriend or something, but then I'm like, there's 1, 2, 3 I cannot do, you know. I actually saw this video. It's crazy. The woman wants the man to take care of her. Like she's like, you have to treat me 1, 2, 3, 4, and then she's independent. She keeps saying like she's independent, she's everything, and now they go to a shop and now they're shopping and the man says she can pay. And she's like, what? She's like, what? And the man's like, you said you're independent, I want you to swipe the card and we leave. So I understand, I get that it's a moral thing. I like how you put it. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Okay, now I think the last one is like this is not like a question or something. I'm curious to know about your trip to Mexico. You don't have to give like the details and stuff, but I'm so sure it was about helping a girl child on what you're doing, or the entire community. I think nowadays you don't just deal with women alone. I mean, the young girls. I think you're working with an entire society, right? I mean, our target audience is mainly women and girls, but for us, we prefer a more holistic stakeholder approach where we involve everyone, because in the end of the day, I cannot only sit down with a woman and tell them your husband is not allowed to beat you. I also have to sit down with the husband and tell them you're not allowed to beat your wife. So it's more of a conversation we need to have with the whole society. But yes, primarily our work focuses on women and girls. And the trip I made to Mexico, I was actually attending the SVRI forum in Cancun in Mexico. The SVRI forum is one of the largest forum, the second largest actually, I think, globally, that tackles matters of sexual violence. And they bring in different stakeholders, different,
from grassroots to CSOs to individuals to corporate, that are all championing towards ending violence towards women and girls. So it was a more of a forum, and we were having different conversation, and it was an opportunity to meet different partners who are also working in the same sector. I figured it was also a learning opportunity because you get to learn how other people in different countries are tackling the issues of violence against women and girls. So that's what the forum was all about, and it was very interesting because personally for me, I got to meet people who, I've seen mostly on social media, or you've seen on digital platforms, but now you have an opportunity to sit with them face to face and ask them questions and learn from them. And it was a very eye-opening experience. I loved it, to be honest. Yeah.
And I think that on that side you met different cultures and different people. Do you think the girl child is being treated the same, or the problems or how they are raising the girl child, is it the same in their countries and our countries?
So what I'd say when it comes to raising, of course, it's a bit different in different places because different communities have different cultures. Even in Kenya, you'd see how the girls are being raised. In Kwale is probably not how they're being raised. Kwale being a coastal community is not how they're being raised. In Nairobi being in the central, so it's different. The raising is based on culture and mainly on religion. But when it comes to problems that young women and girls face, or women and girls face in general, I've realized that, they're very common in different places. You realize that the same problems you're facing here are same problems another place are facing. It's just that what differs mostly is the range. Like there's a bit of progress in some places and less progress in others. So most of our African countries, there is less progress compared to more of the Western countries, because their laws have become more powerful, or the policies, the stakeholders who are involved, the advocates and all that. But the problems are mainly the same. When we look at the issue of teenage pregnancy, I was in Mexico and I was seeing a baby, like literally a 13-year-old with a baby, with another baby, and they're borrowing for food, because Cancun, the place we were, was a bit of let's say, I want to say like a rich place, but then you can have people who some beggars in the street. So we could see some few beggars, and some of them were kids, like a 13-year-old girl with a baby. So, that comes down to teenage pregnancy. It means that same place. And, we were lucky to be in that kind of a place. But then you can just look, I'm pretty sure it also shows that there are people who live in real poverty. And when you are trying to go to some of the marketplaces, like the interior, the local markets, then you get to see the kind of poverty that is there. Yeah. And you get most of the people in the markets are women. So it also shows you that the rate of poverty. Yeah. So the problems are mainly.
For instance, here, the men are kind of the breadwinners. It's shocking, but it is what it is. Okay, so I think to spare your time and stuff, I think that was all. But the last thing I would want you to, like, what can you advise a girl child? You are 27, I'm 26. I think we have. First of all, how old is a girl child?
So I guess it depends with the different countries and the constitutions that are involved. But for us, a girl is a child until the age of 18. I think because at 18 is when you're allowed to get your ID. So before that, you're considered a child. Yeah, according to the law of Kenya. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's probably everywhere, regardless of we have like the cultural age.
Yeah.
I think normally it's like that. I think 16, 18 is how it goes. So what would you, looking at the girl child that you were and the person that you are right now, like what would you advise a girl child? What would you tell a girl child, like quickly?
What I tell a girl is no matter where you're from, no matter where you're coming from, no matter what the challenges you've had to go through in life to get to where you are, those challenges, they don't define you. Where you're coming from does not define you. And no matter where you're from or who you are or who your family is, it does not stop you from achieving your goals. you're allowed to dream as big as you can. Never let anyone give a limit to your dreams. You can dream as big as you want. Dreams are free, so dream as big as you want and work towards achieving your goals. In the end of the day, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the hard work, the effort, the time, and the money also. But eventually, it's going to be worth it. And in the end of the day, no one can take away that from you. That is always going to be your superpower, that you worked so hard and this is what you achieved. No one can take away your achievements from you. So dream big and your dreams are valid. Yeah.
I think if I was to advise a young girl, a girl child, I'll tell her, go slow on yourself. I've looked at where I come from, like how I've been doing things. You know, since I left home, I'm abroad. Yeah. I've been providing for myself. Like sometimes life gives you that pressure, and I think some of these girls get into problems because of life itself, trying to be independent and everything. Like this pressure they get. I really wish to tell a girl child that take it slow. You, as much as you want to have it all, the Gen Z, but take it slow on yourself and believe in yourself. Like you said, believe in yourself, and always what was meant for you will just be eventually. Like, I think that is what I would tell a girl child, and she should be strong. The world is changing like really quick, very fast. Like, she needs to be strong.
Very true.
So,
and I love that. I love it of going easy on yourself, because it's something that we usually forget, and we have to constantly remind ourselves that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You also need to be refilled. So thank you for that reminder. Exactly. I needed to hear that today.
You never listen. Wow, this was just an amazing session. I'm really happy. Thank you for your time. I think you have other matters to attend to. Thank you so much. Like, I'm blessed. I hope this empowers someone. I hope they get one or two. I'll share this and I'll let you know. And thank you so much again. Like, I'm super grateful. You don't know, I know we are friends, but I treat this chance as like, like kuna kiji pressure. Thank you so much, Nima, and wish you all the best. I want to see you grow and grow. I'm your #1 fan. Like,
I
know. Like, I know what you're doing. I've seen like for the couple of years how it has been going and stuff. And I believe when you started, you were making nothing, right?
True.
I think most of the time it's just you from your pocket to maybe transport to go to these places. Maybe you have to provide for the girls, like you said. Not every time you get. I think before you didn't have the people that maybe give you the pads and stuff. You have to buy for yourself to give them. So may God bless you from where you took and where you're taking from, your time and everything. Not everybody can be in service, No, but not everyone can be of service.
Very true.
It takes a lot.
It does.
Okay, thank you so much, Nima.
Thank you for having me.
Wow.
I love you a lot, and all the best to your
thank
show.
you for being here. Okay, I'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Choppers, better cook those risks. Cool, but on my fists, we fire starters. One out of a million.